What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Derek,
And I'm Kevin.
and together we're last week's album. We're talking about good music, but before we talk about any music, we're going to start things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Kevin, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
This week we are talking about Blue Planet Eyes by the Preatures. And before we go any further, I think we should literally spell out the band's names because it's not as it sounds. It's spelled like creatures, but with a P in front. So Preachers, spelled like creatures, not like the person talking to you on a Sunday. If you happen to be somewhere on a Sunday, or on Saturday, if you're of a religion of a different persuasion, what have you. But before we digress any further, because I don't think we could go any further there. The Preachers are a Sydney, Australia-based quintet. They were formed in 2010. Their first single that came off this album, Is This How You Feel, won the Vanda and Young Songwriting Competition in Australia, which is a very big deal. And Blue Planet Eyes is their debut full-length, which was also produced by Jim Eno, the drummer from Spoon, and for the most part recorded in Austin. So there you have it. Kevin, the Preachers, what do you think they sound like?
Derek, I think Blue Planet Eyes, excuse me, sounds like 70s classic rock, 80s radio pop, 90s alternative, and aughts indie, all rolled into one creature, if you will. What do you think it sounds like, Derek?
Kevin, I like it, especially because I don't think we've fully accepted what to describe the 2000 through 2010 decade, but you were like, F it, we're calling it the aughts. I'm really digging it, and everything else you had there. So I think the Preachers sound like, and I'm not touching on nearly as many decades here, but I think they sound like a less sad and Broken Bells-ish Death Cab for Cutie. Because, this is the girl that broke up with Ben Gibbard. Not before Zooey Deschanel, but also produced by Danger Mouse. So there you have it. That's what I think it sounds like. Key tracks. Kevin, what did you have?
Derek, for my key track, I'm going with Rock and Roll Rave. What about you?
That's a great one, but I'm going with Blue Planet Eyes, the title track of the album, which is also the opening track, so I'll kick us off. This one starts off with just waves of warm synths, soft machine drum beats, and then it shifts into this phrase which really kind of carries throughout the song, this upbeat, lo-fi bass guitar riff. Isabella, the female lead vocalist, she's got layered vocals throughout, which are kind of alternatingly distant at some times, and then other times just very in your face, which is done to a very cool effect. Lyrics are kind of light substantively, but it really kind of expresses an ethereal affection for someone, presumably, I think, with blue eyes. I don't know. Ultimately, though, the production aspect of the vocals, the layering, and then just the way they come at you and away from you, just really make up for this and really create for just a really just capturing opening track, I thought. So, Kevin, why don't you tell us about Rock and Roll Rave?
Sure thing. This one is on this sort of grungy, grimier side of the Preachers' catalog here on their debut album. It's got this really grimy bass line, some affected vocals, staccato guitars, soft vocals in the back, as Derek mentioned. They layer her vocals in a lot of different ways throughout the album. Really popping drums and this trippy sort of underwater bridge, and kind of goes silent and then steadily fills back in. Then we get this angular, woozy guitar solo, some careening synth stabs, and a really good line that says, "You know that little place you like to go after dark." That is what this song sounds like, a song you would hear at a place you like to go to after dark, which is probably why it's called Rock and Roll Rave. But definitely check this one out. It's a really strong track.
Yeah, Kevin, I think if that tune was any longer, it would be talking about coming out of that place in the daylight hours, which probably, for all intents and purposes, probably better left out. So that brings us to best lyric. Kevin, what did you have?
I'm going with a lyric from the song Cruel, which opens the song. It goes, "What you're doing is a big mistake, babe. You keep talking and I won't wait. I'd rather be dancing far away. Kick off my shoes and I throw them in the lake, 'cause ahoo!" Which you'll understand if you listen to the song. I just love how she throws that line away, because ahoo. It really kind of embodies the whole album, this sort of post-heartbreak, laissez-faire vibe. And she's upset, but she's not too upset to dance it off. Or maybe she is dancing her blues away. Who knows? But great lyric nonetheless. Derek, what did you pick?
Kevin, you know that it seems like we're pulling best lyrics from the same vibe here. Mine comes from a tune called "It Gets Better," and she says, "And all the times I had you near, through my fingers disappear. I see all that it could be, and it's better than it could ever be." Just once again, you know, really being or showing some remorse or brokenheartedness over a breakup, and realizing that sucks. But at the same time, maybe it's better off without this person. But I really kind of liked the couplet, especially there at the beginning. Just really kind of cool language. So that brings us to overall rating. Kevin, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think?
All right, I'm leaving this to a game time decision. I was deciding between a 3 or a 4. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5. I think it's a really amazingly solid debut album. Effortlessly, they pan genres and decades, all while staying true to this one sort of singular style that they've created for themselves. I like the edgier tracks versus the more sort of straightforward pop tracks, but they're all really good. A lot of guilty pleasure pop songs here that you can't help but indulge in. They're so catchy. And overall, just a great album to throw on at like a house party, I think. So I'm going 4 out of 5. What do you say, Derek?
Kevin, we're in agreement. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 as well. I really thought they had a unique sound. Their influences were present, but not overwhelmingly palpable. I wrote that in my notes, and I was like, we should never say that string of words on this website. So that's probably the first and last time you'll ever hear that. But there was a realness here. I think thematically, never too warm or optimistic, but at the same time, it was never overly dark or pessimistic either. And you touched on this earlier, and I literally had this in my notes. Is this really their debut? Question mark. I mean, because it was very solid. Really enjoyed it. Really looking forward, to hearing what the preachers have to say at their sermon next Sunday.
Or next Saturday. You were being so.
That's right. That's right. We're very open here at last week's album. Thanks again for joining us. We're talking about good music. And don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, respectively. And we'll see you guys again next week. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Derek.
And I'm Kevin. Cheers, guys. See you next week.